Hola!
Bonjour!
Ni hao!
However you say it, everybody, welcome to this week's Normal Not Normal podcast with myself, James Phelps.
And me, Oliver Phelps. Guys, Feliz Navidad!
Whether you're celebrating Christmas or Kwanzaa, or you've just celebrated Hanukkah or Diwali, or any other holiday around the world, welcome to the Normal Not Normal podcast. Before we continue, I just need to let everybody aware, I'm not feeling 100%. I did that silly thing. I went for a run outdoors literally 2 days ago. It was raining. It was very cold. When I got in, I didn't warm up straight away. And now I'm suffering for it. So if I ever sound or look a bit ropey on this episode, that is why.
As we're getting into the whole festive spirit of things, I was looking for something festive to wear. I see you've got your festive sweater, or as we say in the UK, jumper. And I found I've actually got 3 lying around. So I'm going to start with one that I was sent last year. And it's festive, but it's also a bit sporty. So this is from our friends at Valencia Football Club. There you go. Got little Christmas trees and footballs.
Very good.
So I'm going to wear this one to begin with, and then I'll see what other ones I've got lying around. I did have a Father Christmas hat, but it doesn't quite fit.
I know that when we signed up last week, we said we'd be back with a guest this week. However, that guest is going to be on next week because we thought, as it's Christmas, we'd have listener participation episodes for celebrate the Christmas season, the holiday season around the world. So, and thank you so much for everybody for sending all your Christmas traditions, your stories, your did you knows, your question, everything. We've had such a great time reading from you, so thank you so much for that.
Yes, we have been, exactly. And I think there's a good feel about the thing right now, obviously, as we're getting into the festivities. Hopefully you've got all your Christmas presents sorted. If you haven't, that's all we can say. Oh dear, the mailman must have lost it. Yeah, we've all heard that one before. Or, oh dear, we've just ran out of wrapping paper. Here's a card. Or even if, right, you're those people, and I've got to be honest, I'm these people as well, who gets a gift bag at Christmas time, and then you say, well, thank you very much, and then you look to see, hopefully they haven't written on the tag what's looped around the handle of the gift bag. That means that you can use it another time, because normally, you get it if someone's written, to, for example, to me, to Oliver, Merry Christmas, love, la la la, and I'll look at it and say, oh, thank you very much, that's great, and I'm thinking to myself, that's a nice bag, I'll keep that bag afterwards. And then you seem to fold them all up, put them away in a box, and maybe use them many moons down the line. Do you ever do that, James?
Not as many as you, because I have actually received one from you, which I gave you the year before. But that's for another day. Anyway, let's crack on with the story time.
Saving the planet.
So our first story time is all about Hungarian holiday traditions. Take it away.
Hello, James. Hello, Oliver, and hello, everyone. I'm Fanny, and I'm from Hungary. And I would like to tell you a Hungarian tradition. It's from the old times, when people believed in witches. On the 13th of December, the masters started to make a chair. This chair had 3 legs, and it was made from 7 different type of wood, like the 7 Horcruxes. This chair is called Luca-széke in Hungarian, which can be translated as Luca's chair. And Luca is a girl name here. So, they had been doing it for 13 days, and at night, on the 25th of December, on the midnight mass, the witches could be seen from the top of the chair. You have to stand up to the chair, and you could spot the witches because they wore horns. And after that, when you spot a witch, you have to escape because the witches can attack you. And while escaping, you have to throw away poppy seeds, because when the witches are busy picking them up, you can easily escape. And after that, you have to burn the chair. And then the country and your town is safe from witches because the fire killed them. Yeah, it's a bit confusing and it's a bit weird, but it's still interesting, I think. I hope you find it interesting, and I hope you will have a very Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, Fanny, thank you so much for that one. That was very interesting, learning about the Hungarian holiday traditions. I have so many questions. How do people know? Like, how did they know that the poppy seeds were what kept the witches away?
I mean, it sounded to me like the tradition was kind of made up as they went along. You just got to keep stacking the chairs up.
Do you think the local carpenter made that up?
Yeah, can you see the witch? No. You know, the one with the horns. Oh, that's the witch over there. Okay. Yeah, now we've got to burn all the chairs and scatter the poppy seeds and run away because it'll kill the witch. And then, yeah, Merry Christmas. It's funny, isn't it? It's good, though. I mean, it's elaborate. I like it how they build it up daily as well. It's almost like an Advent theme.
I suppose it's kind of like our bonfire night in regards to everyone just...
Yeah. I mean, health and safety would have a field day these days, wouldn't they?
I think so.
12 chairs stacked on top of each other, and you've got to stand up to see if there's some lady with horns flying around.
I'll tell you what, I would watch that. There must be some good videos of people trying that one.
Yeah, it would be.
Very good
one.
Fanny, thank you so much for sending that in from Hungary. Oliver, do you want to take it away with the next one?
Hang on. Thank you, Fanny. So the next one is from Kira, and Kira says, every Boxing Day, my family and I all get together, we're all massive Harry Potter fans by the way, and wear our Hogwarts house colours. And we spend the day having a Harry Potter trivia day and watching the movies. It's nothing extremely exciting, but to me it means a lot because I love watching my uncles argue over which Weasley family member is the best. In my opinion, it's Fred and George. P.S. I just got a new little kitten named George because he's missing part of his ear. I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas. That's really good, that. I love it when people name pets after something what reminds them of somebody or something like that. So George is great. I remember my in-laws once had a dog, what they adopted, and it had one blue eye and one brown eye, and I kept trying to convince them to call it Bowie, but they didn't. They called it Tess in the end. But there we go. I tried. I don't know where that came into the story.
Great story.
Yeah.
So the next one is from Lena, and this shows a bit of a different side to Christmas. And Lena says, hi guys, in recent years I've mostly been working at Christmas and people often tell me that this isn't normal. Well, unfortunately, not everyone can afford a day off. I live far away from my family and I will not be able to be with them on this day anyway. So I often take shifts from other people whose family are closer so they get to have a day off. But I always find a few hours for a cosy time for myself on this day. Usually it's a movie and a glass of wine. What a very selfless Christmas tradition.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's not a million miles away from a bit like the tradition that we were just hearing from Kira there about watching the film. I know they have a bit of a trivia night with the family, but you know, sitting down, watching a film, glass of wine, could be really good. But what is the film? Is it a Christmas film? See, to me, my tradition on Christmas Eve, or the run up to Christmas, maybe the 23rd, is Rocky IV. It's a Christmas film. Don't tell me it's not. That is my tradition.
It's like Die Hard, isn't it? Yep. But
I'm sure there's people who disagree with it and want to watch stuff like The Grinch.
But Lena, I'm sure that all of your work colleagues are very, very grateful for your selfless act there, and I really do hope that when you are able to get back with your family, you can have a second Christmas too. Because it sounds like you definitely do deserve it, as this hasn't been a one-off. So for you and everybody that worked over Christmas Day, thank you very much for being very selfless in what you do, so potentially other people can have a Christmas of their own.
Yes, I need to echo those words as well. So while we're moving on, I'm just going to change outfits if that's okay, because as I said, I found quite a few different sweaters. So I'm going to try from this one. There we go. Let's go for this one. So this one's a little bit older, but nevertheless still festive. Go. How's that look? So it's great. It's got like a knitted belt and everything, and a little candy cane in the corner. Right, anyway, so moving on. So our next one is a audio clip, and it comes from Vicky, who's telling us all about the Polish holiday tradition. And I think James hasn't heard this yet, but I think it is absolutely brilliant. Take it away.
My Christmas tradition is completely different to, say, a British Christmas tradition. So I'm from Poland and we celebrate Christmas on the Christmas Eve. Like, obviously we still do Christmas Day and Boxing Day, however the more important date for us is Christmas Eve. So we sit down and have dinner. Depending on how traditional you are, it's more than likely going to be a meat-free dinner, so like fish and other things. We try to do it so it's like 12 different dishes, where each would symbolise like the 12 disciples of Jesus. So I suppose that's a general fact for you. Once you've had your dinner, it's pretty much presents time. Now, depending on the region of Poland you're from, that depends on who brings your presents. So because I'm from the Silesian side of Poland, it's actually baby Jesus for us. But of course, like other parts of Poland have like Little Angel or Star. Probably the second popular one is Starman, and then the majority do have Santa, the same as you guys. So I guess that's another, you know. Now, something that my pals find absolutely bizarre is the fact that when I go back to Poland, because it couldn't really happen here, like transport difficulties and stuff like that. But something that I enjoyed a lot during like my younger years was when you'd go to the shop and you'd buy a fish. Now that's usually like a carp, which is like the Christmas traditional fish. And it's like still alive, and you take it home and you put it in the bath, and then it literally just swims about the bath for a couple of days. And then I guess you can imagine what happens after. But yeah, so that's a bit odd, but I do love that tradition. It's definitely like up there with one of the most exciting things about going back to Poland for Christmas. But yeah, I could go on about Christmas traditions for ages, so Merry Christmas.
Vicky, that is amazing. That is amazing.
So I was actually doing some research, James, on the Christmas Eve carp. And would you like to hear some news about it? This was from the website atlasobscuria.com, and it says there's many ways to ensure your meal is fresh. You can grow it or raise it yourself. You can buy it directly from the farm, or you can take it home and let it swim in your bathtub. Now, the later method is a tradition surrounded Christmas Eve carp in Poland, Slovakia, and Czechia, and the symbol of good luck and a classic meat-free meal on Christmas, just like Vicky said. Now, what happens basically is you keep it in your bathtub. Keeping one of fish in the bathtub for several days likely began in the pre-refrigeration storage techniques, but today, some people anyway, swear that time in the bathtub helps the bottom-feeding carp of any mud and digestive tract, although there are some skeptics that say this could take a lot longer. But anyway, when Christmas Eve arrives, it's time for the family to kill their temporary pet, and after cleaning and soaping the carp in milk, cooks typically bread and fry it, or make a fishy aspic. On Slovakian and Czech tables, it's often accompanied with cabbage soup or fish soup and a potato salad, whereas in Poland the dish is one of 12 on Christmas Eve. And anyway, so it goes on and on and on. So after the dinner plate and after you've finished eating it, in all three cultures, it's common for family members to keep the scales in their wallets for good luck. I mean, that's brilliant. Could you imagine if you didn't know what was going on? You were around. Oh, and here's a picture.
Vicky's fish.
Got a video of Vicky's fish in the bath. I mean, could you imagine going around someone's house on Christmas Eve and just saying, "Oh, can I just nip to the loo before I go?" And you just got a carp in the bath next to you.
Good tradition, and I can kind of relate to the Christmas Eve thing because my wife's family are from Finland. And so Christmas Eve is a big thing. That's pretty much Christmas Day there. So we always have at least... You can open one present. That's how we bring it into our tradition. So Christmas Eve is a one-present evening. And then Christmas Day starts. Anyway, great facts that it's not just the same day around the world, isn't it?
No, it is. I was going to say, speaking about it, it's kind of a bit like the Christmas Eve carp. But I always remember my nan telling me when she was a little girl, her dad brought a turkey. And they fed it every day to fatten it up. And when Christmas Day came around, only my great granddad was the one eating it, because everyone else around the table was upset that the turkey had met its end. It's quite funny, isn't it? How people... I wonder if people have that with the Christmas carp, or if it's just a thing that they're just used to doing.
Depends if you need a bath or not, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wonder that.
Anyway,
I'll send a postcard to normalnotnormalpodcast@gmail.com. After the Christmas carp has been in the bath, do you smell like a fish?
So the next message is from Karina in Mexico, and it's a really cool one. So she says, "Hi James and Oliver, my name's Karina and I'm from Mexico City. Before I tell you my story, you should know that in Mexico, Dia de los Reyes is celebrated on January the 6th. This represents the day the three wise men gave the gifts to Jesus Christ. It's also the day the people of Mexico exchange gifts. So, My story happened on the morning of January 6th, 2009 at approximately 6:30 a.m. There were already some rays of dawn. I was 5 or 6 years old and my mum and I were sleeping when suddenly there was a lot of noise downstairs and you could hear the Christmas tree being moved. It should be noted that my mother and I lived alone. There was no way someone would get into the house, so we woke up very, very scared by the noises that we were listening to and the movement of the Christmas tree. Then my mum got out of bed and I got up behind her because I was so scared. When we reached the middle of the stairs, everything fell silent. Suddenly, we heard someone running away, and we just managed to see a foot that ran out the door. The door was never opened. When we turned on the light, there were gifts under the tree. We were quite surprised and a little scared because there was no way for someone to enter the house. Most of all, there was no way for someone to put their foot through the door. It was impossible. We told our family, but no one believed us. They thought it was a lie or we were too sleepy to tell the difference between a dream and reality. My mum and I spent a lot of time thinking, but we came to the same conclusion, that the gift giver was none other than one of the wise men because he left us gifts. So that was the most magical and least normal Christmas of our entire lives. I have to say, I completely agree with you. That must have been the most bizarre Christmas of your entire lives. Amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. And it definitely sounds like you had definitely one of the wise men dropping a gift off. I bet it'd be quite nervy. I mean, if you think about the concept of it, you know, someone's coming into your house at night.
Well, that's why when I was a kid, I always wanted any gifts that I always wanted them left outside my door because I didn't want anyone coming into my room.
So moving on from that very good one now. Actually, I'll tell you what, this is the final one. So I've got one more costume change. Hang on. Right, so this one was I purchased from last year. And it's one of my favourite sweaters, actually. It's a Christmas sloth. Anyway, now we've gone on from hearing about the traditions to hearing the questions. And our first question is from our friend Milen in Brazil. And she says, Merry Christmas, guys. I have a question for you. Do you have any memories of Santa Claus? I always try my best to create magical memories for my 5-year-old son, Carlos. Hello, Carlos. But do you have any advice? Just remember that here in Brazil, it's summertime and we don't have snow. I'm trying to think of any memories of Father Christmas. Well, we call him Father Christmas over here, although Santa Claus seems to be sleeping more into the common vocabulary. Any questions of Father Christmas? I don't know. There's a couple. I always remember being desperately wanting myself to, wishing myself to go to sleep quicker and quicker and quicker on Christmas Day. And then obviously, like all kids, you rush to get to sleep. And then you wake up especially early because there may be presents there and stuff like that. But in my family, the older we got, we don't really open presents now until the evening time, do we, James?
No, which is a big annoyance for my wife.
Yeah, mine too. She absolutely hates it. But I said, trust me, it all made sense. But yeah, we kind of open a couple of presents at home, and then when we see the rest of my family, it's always in the evening after food, which is nice. It kind of prolongs the day. But in terms of Father Christmas turning up, not too much. No,
I would say that obviously my memory of seeing Father Christmas on his way to the pub on Christmas Eve, that's always stayed with me.
I think in terms of in Brazil and being summertime and stuff like that, I don't know. I suppose it would be the same type of thing that Father Christmas. Do you think he's got to change his sledge for hot climates or anything like that?
I think so. It's probably got air conditioning, isn't it? It's quite a magical thing.
True.
But then, but we were also asked, did we have any stockings? And we had more pillowcases than stockings. Although now I do have a stocking.
Yeah, I've got a stocking now. Yeah, it's funny how you get these things when you get older.
I know.
Just like I do. Yeah, so
anyway.
that goes from there. But I would say that I just hope that Carlos has a fantastic Christmas, enjoying the Brazilian summer festivities. Maybe even try a Christmas Eve carp. Integrate a bit of Polish tradition into it as well. Are you going to do that, James?
What, a Christmas carp? No, I'm not.
Yeah. Should we do that?
You can. I'll watch. But no, I will not be participating in the Christmas carp tradition.
I wonder what my wife would do if I did it without telling her.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to move on to this week's Did You Knows, and obviously, because it's a holiday season, we've got holiday-themed Did You Knows. And the first one is from Floney, and this is one of my well-liked Did You Knows. So, did you know, back in 1965, specifically the 16th of December, 9 days before Christmas, there was a mission to space on the Gemini program. Gemini program, for those who didn't know, was like the lead up to going to the moon. Anyway, 2 astronauts, Wally Schirra and Thomas P. Stafford, were on Gemini 6. Gemini 6A, if we're being completely ready. And so, no, they told Mission Control that they'd witnessed an unidentified flying object that was about to enter the Earth's atmosphere, travelling in the polar opposite from north to south. Just as things got tense, because actually on this mission they were going to be meeting up with Gemini 7, which had Frank Boreham and Jim Lovell in. First time people would have rendezvoused in space. Anyway, things were getting a bit tense because they said that they'd seen something flying from north to south in the atmosphere. They interrupted the broadcast with jingle bells played on a small harmonica. So technically, that was the first ever song played in space. Another did you know fact, in 1955, Sears, which is an American department store, tried to put Santa's phone number on one of their ads in a newspaper so children could call Santa and tell him what they wanted for Christmas. However, the number printed was for NORAD, which is the North American Aerospace Defense Command hotline. Thus, the Santa tracker began. So NORAD still provides flight updates on the internet. They even got their own app. I know this because I have it. TV news and special apps for all over Christmas, so you can literally track exactly where Santa Claus is at that given moment. And our final one is from Mariana, and Mariana says, "Hi James, hi Oliver." I'm Mariana. Hello. So everyone knows Santa's reindeers as Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and of course Rudolph. But did you know that they almost had different names? Rudolph was almost Rolo. Some of the other names that were considered for this reindeer are Flossie, Glossy, Racer, Pacer, Scratcher, Feckless, that can't be a name, Ready, Steady, and Fireball. That's a bit of a random fact, isn't it?
Who decided they had different names?
I guess Father Christmas and his elves. Which actually, me saying that, thank you very much for that, Mariana, but that actually brings me on to my very own Did You Know facts. So, as you can probably tell, we've called St. Nicholas, or we've called him Father Christmas, or we've called him Santa Claus. So obviously Santa Claus is what is known pretty much universal, but especially in the USA. Father Christmas here in the UK. In the Netherlands, he's known as Sinterklaas. In Germany, he's known as Christkind. In Latin America, he's known as Papa Noel. And I believe that's the same in France as well. And in Finland, he's known as Joulupukki, which actually translates to the Christmas goat. There you are. Random fact. Another random fact. Christmas trees, they're so popular nowadays, and that's mainly because Prince Albert, he was from Germany, but he's married to Queen Victoria here in the UK. And he brought their Christmas tradition of a Christmas tree to the UK, and thus everybody then in the UK started having Christmas trees, and that is why it's so universally popular around the world now. Just before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you as well to Lucy Courtois, who sent me a little book called Miracle Endless Possibilities. Now, Lucy is visually impaired, but she wrote this book about how it has, and she told me about how she sometimes feels a bit isolated and not part of what's going on. But listening to the podcast and also speaking to people who have also listened to the podcast has really helped her feel included. So, Lucy, thank you very much for that. I really do hope the book, Minus Endless Possibilities, which is out now, I hope it goes very well. So thank you very much for that. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Christmas holiday journey, should I say that? Another random fact. Can I give you one more random fact? Right? Did you know December 25th is not anywhere specifically given to Christmas Day in the Bible? There is no reason why it would be there. In fact, historians actually believe that Christmas should actually take place in the spring, because obviously while the shepherds watch their flock by night, why would the sheep be out in the middle of winter? But they reckon that everyone came into this because it was when the festival of Saturn used to happen in pagan holidays. And that was always the tradition for gift giving and things like that. So it was always just tied into, that is the part of history of why Christmas is in this part of the world where it is.
Jolly, jolly good. Well, anyway, guys, on that note, we're just going to say to you, have an absolutely amazing Christmas, a brilliant holidays, or whatever it is you guys are celebrating right now. Keep your messages coming into the normal address, which is normalnotnormalpodcast@gmail.com.
Go on, bang
I've
away.
got it here. Hey! Ho, ho, ho. Have an amazing Christmas, guys, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Slam dunk, are you ready?